Hi everyone, I am here today to share about a book that I recently read that made me get out of my reading slump, and hopefully it'll help you too. Imagine a robber trying to rob a bank but failing to do so idiotically because it is a cashless bank. Goes on ahead and takes a bunch of people hostage on gunpoint in a very small town on New Year's Eve when there is not enough police force available because they are off with their families celebrating the New Year's Eve to deal with this whole hostage situation, and a duo of the father and his son are left to deal with this hostage situation alone. But an interesting part of the story is that this robber is helped by the police and his hostages themselves to flee and save himself. And the big question in this whole story remains, why? Why would you save someone who committed such a heinous crime against you? This book gives you a lot to think about adult life, about life choices, and the fact how every action that you do creates that ripple effect in the universe and affects something very far away from you. But at the same time, something that you do and you think that was the reason behind something else happening was really not the reason. And it's almost like a paradox, just like life is. And I'm here to read you 3 excerpts from this book to convince you to read this. First one is basically about becoming an adult, because everyone in this story is an adult and everyone is very confused on how to navigate life. So this excerpt very beautifully portrays how adult life or transitioning into the adult life is something that is not very easy. So here it goes. Because the terrible thing about becoming an adult is being forced to realize that absolutely nobody cares about us. We have to deal with everything ourselves now. Find out how the whole world works, work and pay bills, use dental floss, and get to meetings on time, stand in line and fill out forms, come to grips with cables and put furniture together, change tires on the car, and charge the phone, and switch the coffee machine off, and not forget to sign the kids up for swimming lessons. We open our eyes in the morning and life is just waiting to tip a fresh avalanche of "don't forget" and "remember" over us. We don't have time to think or breathe. We just wake up and start digging through the heap, because there will be another one dumped on us tomorrow. We look around occasionally at our place of work or at parents' meetings or out in the street and realize with horror that everyone else seems to know exactly what they are doing. We are the only ones who have to pretend. Everyone else can afford stuff and has a handle on other stuff and enough energy to deal with even more stuff, and everyone else's children can swim. But we weren't ready to become adults. Someone should have stopped us. So, this excerpt really resonates as to me as someone who is now transitioning into adult life and understanding how life works, how world works, and it really very beautifully portrays how suddenly you transition from depending on people helping you, ready to come help you, but then one day you just have to realize that not someone is not coming to save you. even if they want to. They have to let you drown so that you can learn to swim. And so, yeah, this excerpt really resonated with me. It hit me hard and it helped me realize that maybe sometimes this phase of life is where you find yourselves. It's these excerpts are literally thought food for people. This will help you think about adult life, transitioning into adult life, dealing with how the world works, and understanding how you look at that process. Maybe my point of view is how this is how I will find myself, but someone else's would be that I had to do this very early on, or why do I have to do this alone? It's really about what perspective you have about it, and it's totally fine to have it. Second excerpt, and this excerpt is basically about internet and how we look at the internet and think that our lives are not going as well, or it's basically helping you understand how life on the internet should be viewed, not how we do it, to be honest. And here it goes. You have to be sensible. The problem is that everything is relative. Happiness is based on expectations. And we have the internet now. A whole world constantly asking us, but is your life as perfect as this? Well, how about now? Is it as perfect as this? If it isn't, change it. The truth, of course, is that if people really were as happy as they look on the internet, they wouldn't spend so much damn time on the internet. Because no one who's having a really good day spends half of it taking pictures of themselves. Anyone can nurture a myth about their life if they have enough manure. So if the grass looks greener on the other side of the fence, that's probably because it's full of shit. Not that it really makes that much of a difference, because now we've learned that every day needs to be special. Every day. This excerpt is so real about today's world. We scroll on Instagram, we watch YouTube videos, we look at people having all the achievements and living a good life, and then we think, why don't I have this life? And it's all a bunch of lies. It's all a bunch of people trying to pretend, or honestly just trying to be, and their intention is never to make you feel jealous or bad about your own life, but our insecurities force us to feel bad about our life. So this excerpt really explains how life on the internet should be viewed. As someone who has too much manure and has spread it across his garden, so their grass has been growing too much, it's full of shit. It's full of shit, and they just have too much. That's why they're just putting it out there. And thirdly and lastly, this excerpt is really close to my heart because it really shows how it feels when you look at those things. So you can view it as something very interlinked with the previous excerpt, though they are not from the same chapter or from the same scene. But personally, I felt that this is something that very like this can be something that can be linked with the previous excerpt. So here it goes. It's basically about the anxiety that you feel when you look at those people, kind of. So let's let's take a look. You can get into your head to do some unbelievably stupid things when you run out of tears, when you can't silence the voices no one else can hear, when you've never been in a room where you felt normal. In the end, you get exhausted from always tensing the skin around your ribs, never letting your shoulders sink, brushing along the walls all your life with white knuckles, always afraid that someone will notice you, because no one's supposed to do that. When you look at everyone having that huge grandeur of a life on the internet, all you try to do is minimize yourself. All you try to do is not come into notice so that people don't realize that you don't have that grandeur. But this really explains that space that you go into at times when life becomes too much, which is almost a factor of the previous two excerpts that we read: adult life, transitioning into adult life, and then watching people have a better adult life, or a, watching people project a better adult life out in the world. And this really shows how everything happens inside you. It becomes too much inside your head, and you keep beating yourself up, and it becomes too much at a point that you even get out of your head that there's not much I can do about it. So yeah, this book really is something that will make you feel understood, that will make you feel like you are not alone, and it's just a world with a bunch of anxious people trying to navigate through life without being noticed. This book also has a Netflix limited series on it. That series does miss a few small elements from the story that is given in the book, but it's good. It does explain, it does portray all the important themes of covered in the book. But definitely reading the book has much more to resonate to, and better dialogues, because most of these things are not, these are dialogues, and most of these things are not said or not vocalized in the series. But definitely it's to it's basically how the world is round, and it completes a whole circle of how everything is connected, and it does that beautifully in the series too. So if you don't have enough time, or you just don't like reading books, you can watch that particular series on Netflix. Otherwise, reading this book will definitely help you first escape life for some time very easily. Secondly, feel very understood and feel very normal, to be honest. And thirdly, it will definitely help you get out of that reading slump and do better the next day. Thank you.